Here's the thread I'm introducing this time. Give me the trap of choosing the last love of your life. In this thread, old men in their 50s and 60s talk about car life. If you want to know about cars that are both fun and practical, or if you're considering changing cars, please refer to this. Here we go. I'm 63 years old and have already changed cars twice. Is there a car you'd like to buy? If there are any cars you recommend or things to watch out for, please let me know. My
first BMW X4 M40i was delivered this weekend. Apparently it's not selling well due to a lack of recoil, but whatever. The third Z Auto. I
want to buy a BMW electric scooter. The performance isn't good enough yet. People
in their 50s today probably have more life than people in the past, so I guess I'll be able to switch to 65 at best. I've driven several cars with automatic air conditioning, but I've never used it in auto mode. When you
put it in auto mode, the compressor also turns on, right? What's the advantage of auto mode? It's
annoying because the AC turns on automatically and the airflow is too strong when it's in auto mode. I don't
like the type that requires everything to be done with push buttons or touch panels that require visual confirmation.
You guys really like old-fashioned cars. I think you'll understand if you actually use one. But is it faster and easier to set the temperature by flicking a switch or using a physical dial or lever? Even for something like Go, I'd rather just turn it by hand than have fancy features. The
Triangle was also reasonable, and I prefer a car with a manual transmission and a cab.
But I can't have a manual transmission anymore. No matter what, power steering and power windows are a must. I commute between Tokyo and Osaka several times a year, so around 250 PS of power and automatic driving are a must. And it makes things a lot easier. Driving long distances on the highway is no fun, so for that route, the Shinkansen is the way to go. Flying is easier.
There are security checks on flights, and public transportation is a hassle with lines and other hassles. And most importantly, cars are expensive. I drive a Hiace for work, but I'm a car enthusiast, so Tokyo and Osaka are the only countries I can drive. I love driving. With the Shinkansen, you can't move after you reach your destination, and above all, you're always riding in the painful ISA. Just driving is fun in many ways. I suddenly want a Volvo Riga. The
black car 4th district was quite popular, wasn't it? Before I knew it, the mini version disappeared. All that's
left from domestic manufacturers are compact SUVs and commercial vehicles. I feel like the next to disappear will be huge SUVs, and the focus will be on small cars that are cheap and suitable for the country's narrow territory.
If it's a tourist bus, anything smaller than an A bus will be a minivan. Like the Astro or Dodge. I
bought an IQ mount as a second car at the end of the year. It's equipped with the bare minimum for 1 or 2 people. I'm looking forward to
delivery. Don't young people think coupes are cool?
Even in our generation, there were people who liked cars and people who didn't. People under 30 who grew up playing with 1BO wars don't have any aspirations for fast, cool cars. They're not interested in cars, and my 2 children are in their late 20s but haven't gotten their driver's licenses. One of them is my daughter, who is married, but her husband also has a license, but he has no interest in buying a car. I hear that driving schools are closing down one after another. I heard that it has become mandatory for seniors to renew their licenses through practical training at a driving school, and I heard that in Tokyo, it is difficult to make a reservation 6 months in advance of renewal, so the deadline is in jeopardy. This advanced technology may lead to dramatic development of EVs, but development of hydrogen engines should continue as insurance. It certainly costs money. Unless new technology is developed that can make a car drive in 5 or 10 minutes, it will be a shopping spree. The elegant image of the normal model, which has faded away with only the S13 and the NA, is ruined. The
final model of the 180SX is on the test track. I've been saving up money because I wanted a VW T6 camper, but the price has been going up and it's now close to 15 million yen, so I can't afford it. I'm looking at the high prices of commercial campers. The VW T6 camper is 9.68 million yen. At that price, a new car would be better. Of course, at this age, there are no used car options other than discontinued models. If you
think about how many days a year you drive it, it's worth it. I know some people
will say it's not dreamy, but wouldn't it be better to buy a regular car and stay at a luxury inn instead of buying a car like this? For the owner, even a light Ferrari is still love. I
want a T6.1 camper whether I sleep or sleep. I'll save up money. I
own a 2005 Bentley Arnage. It's more like temporary storage for the future than a purchase. I could probably buy it, but I'd have to be determined. but it's fun to drive, and it's comfortable because I don't get harassed by cars that aren't chasing me. There's no point in showing off cars I used to drive, like the plaid Z31 or Z32, and wishing I still had them. So I continue to carefully drive an unpopular car that's 20 years old. Then, in 10 years, oh my gosh. Wow, you've driven an amazing car. If you keep it nice and shiny, the manufacturer will completely restore it. Of course, if I were to buy a new car, I'd rather have one, but I've grown attached to the HM1 I'm driving now after 15 years, so I'm thinking of getting the tools and changing the timing belt. Mazdas.
A Z1 has become incredibly expensive. Yeah, I don't know. Everything I want takes forever. I'm getting tired of Land Cruisers, Prados, Jimneys, and GSH series Land Cruisers.
I want a Z, but I like the old one, so I'll look for a used one. I
saw a City Turbo the other day. I was so surprised that I gasped. The
City rusted easily. Lol.
Honda paint is thin. That's what my uncle used to say.
Bulldog. He
only called the City Turbo a Bulldog because of the intercooler. It's not suitable for a last-minute car, but the new Civic seems to have a good reputation. It doesn't feel like the old Civic at all, though. I saw on the news that the waiting list for a Land Cruiser is 4 years. It seems that its popularity remains the same even though it's big. The Land Cruiser has a Middle Eastern image. I
drive a 12-year-old Roadster, but the roof is low so I have to cringe and get in. It's a manual transmission, but if I start to lose control or can't drive anymore, I'm thinking about getting my license changed. The Y Series is the best car in the world. I want to avoid cars that would be a disaster if I got into a head-on collision.
Guys, driving express buses are cool after all. You can drive any luxury car you want if you have the money, but that's not what car enthusiasts are all about. I change my smartphone every 1 to 2 years, but my car is about 7 years old. After 7 years, it can be 2 generations old, so I want a new one. I like my Boxer twin-clutch 2-wheeler, not my 4-wheeler, and I rode it for 14 years until the breakdowns got bad. But the real reason I switched was because modern 2-wheelers have a torque control system to prevent lights from going out, and I wanted safety. To be honest, I wanted to make up for the loss, but I was thinking about getting rid of my car, and when I looked it up, I found out that recent mopeds require oil changes. Why did it have to be so troublesome when all you have to do is add oil? It's
not the last one, but maybe I should buy a Crown. It suits me now because I'm in a period of renewal in my life, and if I could go further, I could have a Lexus now. I'm
driving a Citroen BX that I bought when I was 23, my first year on the job. I've always wanted one since I was a student. I'm 53 now, and I have 3 cars, an N-Box and a Can-Am Spyder. I want to drive the BX as long as I can physically and financially. I might want a Can-Am Spyder. A friend of mine had a Citroen, but it broke down. People who
start driving late don't know the benefits of a manual transmission. If you're driving, you can get help from passers-by to set it up, and the windows are manual. I think people who have the luxury of enjoying inconvenience over convenience and drive a manual transmission are cool. By the way, as you pointed out, I'm a K4 driver. I
wanted an Alto Works. It was on the market when my current car was due for its 5th year inspection, but I couldn't make up my mind and got it. This year is my 7th year inspection, so I thought I'd get one this time, but it's gone. It's getting
more and more out of reach while I'm trying to figure it out. I'm
going to take a short drive around the capital in my Silvia. When I was young, I was driving an old, beat-up high-speed car on the highway and it crashed while I was driving, which made me break out in a cold sweat. When I think about that, cars these days really don't break down. The N-Box I'm driving now has over 120,000 kilometers on it, but the dealer's salesman keeps nagging me to open the car. I'm thinking about retirement, so I'm working part-time as a bus and taxi driver, but taxis usually have over 500,000 kilometers on them. The longer I drive my N-Box, which has over 120,000 kilometers on it, the more I grow attached to it and the less I want to sell it. I bought a new car last year, and the family who had their car delivered at the same time listened intently to the delivery explanation, while the mother and daughter were absorbed in their smartphones. Then, when it was time to hand it over, they said to their beloved, "I've driven this car for a long time, and it must have been filled with family memories." A car that you've driven for a long time is like a family member or a close friend. I was surprised to see that the gas station I always go to has raised its prices so much. I've filled it up because I think prices will go up overall in the future, but it's probably best to drive as little as possible for the time being. I'm glad I got a hybrid. Well, the initial investment is several 100,000 yen more, so in the long run it's about the same, but it's easier on my mind at times like this. I don't really feel like driving, but since we have a hybrid and an EV, I don't really care about the fuel tank. The EV is free for life up to a certain amount, but I mostly charge it at home because it's a hassle to go to the charger. Even so, it's only about 1/5 the price of a gas tank, so it's cheap.
Electric cars can now travel about 500 kilometers in real driving, so if the price goes down, their numbers will increase quickly. I still have a hybrid, but I want a full electric car next. I wonder
if the problem of battery deterioration has been solved. I'll replace it if it deteriorates. I'm a low-ranking salaryman and poor, so I bought a Copen for my wife without her knowing. Now the Copen is her car. I have an old Mini that she passed down to me. My daughter will finally graduate from university at the end of next year, and I've spent over 20 million yen on her university tuition alone. If it's a casual day, it's just barely enough for a Ferrari or Lamborghini. But have you changed your Porsche? I wouldn't.
Wear shoes that say, someone's dream.
I'm a single man in his 40s. I'm curious about what everyone does on their days off. Do you have any recommendations for how to spend your days off? By the way, I just laze around. If you go
horse racing or something, you can get outside and get some UV rays, so lazing around at home is the best. I
recommend playing an instrument. What kind of instrument do you play? I'm afraid of disturbing the neighbors. Maybe a guitar or a recorder. For guitar, don't connect the electric guitar to an amp. Just play it naturally. It doesn't make that much noise, and it's a good way to kill time. Guitar is difficult, so I couldn't keep it up. If you just keep trying at first, it's fun to see how you grow. It also makes me a fool. I
go to a sauna with a lot of manga. Go into the sauna, read manga, and sing an endless loop of songs. It's the happiest day off in the world.
I wander around the local shopping mall from the morning. When I get tired, I take a break at the food court. I buy books and food on the way home. I've walked over 10,000 yen.
Why walk such a tough path? I tried.
Spending last weekend without playing games. I almost cried because there was nothing to do. Even when I wandered outside, I would see families and feel more excited, and before I knew it, I had bought 2 games.
In the past, all I did was read books and make jig bindings. I
don't have any artistic talent to go out and paint landscapes. I
was a little interested in Buddhist sculpture, but it seems like you need at least some artistic talent to do it, so I gave up.
Today, I'm enjoying a cold boss tea set in the garden. It calms my mind and makes me feel refreshed. I think holidays are meant to be rested. If I start fishing, I'll
choose cleaning, go to the supermarket, make some side dishes for my lunch, and watch recorded TV all at once. Sometimes I go to the library. I'm
starting to think that if I can kill time with games and the internet, that's fine.
Sometimes I meet people and start dating them while jogging, climbing mountains, or traveling alone. I'd
like to take piano lessons or cooking classes, but I'm a man and don't have the courage. Isn't that kind of gender infiltration no longer necessary? If I have time, I'll run a marathon, go mountain climbing, or travel alone, but I'll just play pachinko all the time. The only thing I don't like about being in a pachinko parlor is the smell of other people's cigarette smoke. My
hobby is participating in marathons. After the race, I go out to eat with people I know. I sometimes meet women there. I can't stop because we share the same hobby and it brings us together. It's a
good hobby. I can run for fun and meet people. It's a
great idea. Sometimes I walk about 3 stations and visit department stores while
I stay at home and watch the TV recordings I've made over the week on my days off. I don't want to be home alone, so I walk around on my days off.
When I'm home, I don't want to think about anything, so I clean and keep moving all the time.
I clean my room and read the newspaper using charcoal. Maybe a hot spring?
Even a super battle would be fine, but I tend to avoid the ones with the hippos because they're crowded. It's nice to be able to look up at the sky and have a warm dew point. I wake up, do laundry, and then drink and gamble from noon. I've been repeating this for over 10 years. I have
absolutely no plans for Golden Week. It's better to work. I
can't get rid of my fatigue if I go out on both Saturday and Sunday. If I just watch a movie on Saturday and take a full rest on Sunday, my physical condition will be better.
Cycling is great. It feels good and, above all, it's good for your health. It's
rough, but I can only ride my bike 10 times. If I ride any more, my muscles will be sore and tired after 3 days. I go to karaoke alone. The local store has free time with a drink bar during the day for about 1,000 yen, so I think it's a very cost-effective form of entertainment.
What's it like to go to karaoke alone? Aren't you embarrassed at first? It might have taken courage at first, but I've forgotten that now. There are a lot of people who go to karaoke alone. Before that, I used to go to karaoke with other people, but a lot of the songs I can sing and want to sing aren't popular, and people don't react when I sing those, so I'd rather sing my favorite songs by myself. When I'm alone, I pretend to be my favorite artist and sing. It's a lot of fun. I see. I can tell that it sounds fun. I'll give it a try.
If you've ever seen a karaoke battle show on TV, it's fun to try it yourself. You can either score normally or compete with people from all over the country for your ranking.
Research into cooking and alcohol. I'm a professional chef, so it's both a hobby and a practical benefit.
Jogging, strength training, cycling, I guess. I
Can relax by sitting on a park bench in the sun, reading, and taking a nap while drinking a cup of coffee from a convenience store.
don't get bored even when I'm home alone. I watch TV and browse the internet. That's how I end my day, but it's not boring at all. Maybe I've become numb to the idea of completion. I still have a slight desire to reach that point, but I'm 44 and I
Mainly go for walks. I went to various tourist spots this golden week and walked for about 6 hours.
Don't you mind the stares of people around you?
At first, I certainly did, but recently I've hardly noticed any families or couples. I do laundry, clean, make beds, and if the weather's nice and I feel like it, I wash the car. During long holidays and when the city is empty, I'll go for a drive, but other than that, I may shut in.
After all, if you don't have money, you'll just shut yourself in on your days off, and nothing is fun. I stopped playing games because it was a waste of time. I live for my children and lose my free time. That's why everyone gets married. I go on motorcycle tours and rent movies when the weather is good. I really want to know, is it fun to go out alone? I just don't get what's so fun about it. I have so much fun just wandering around on my bike and taking pictures of the scenery when I find a place I like. I can't enjoy it because my companion uses itadaki. It's also interesting to search for your elementary school and junior high school classmates. Some have become associate professors at universities, some have become farmers, and some have become city council members. Some work as translators. Try searching on Facebook or something.
I have a friend who married someone from another country and is living overseas. I don't need summer vacation, but I've been told to take a break, so I can't decide what to do. I guess I'll go to the Osaka Expo. I don't want to spend money, but I can't stay cooped up in my room all the time.
I watched a lot of dramas during the Open holidays last year. I guess I've become
less likely to go out as I get older. When I was in my 20s, I used to go to Tokyo every day, but now I find it a hassle to go out, so I stay at home except to buy groceries. I
go mountain climbing. I can only climb the mountains in about 12 hours. My lunchbox is Mizadera. I go to a hot spring on the way back to wash off the sweat. It's my ideal day off. I'm
interested in mountain climbing, but I don't have anyone to go with, so I
can't take the plunge. You meet people while you're hiking, do laundry, watch shows I've tried, go shopping, cook, go to the movies, take a walk, read a book while feeling the breeze on the rooftop.
I relieve stress at the arcade on weekends. I don't keep games at home to prevent game addiction. Even if I go to a game arcade, I finish within 2 hours, but I sell the things I don't need on Yahoo or Mercari. I'm happy if I can sell them, even if they're cheap. I've been
visiting thrift stores recently. Sometimes I go to treasure hunts. That's
interesting. You can make money if you sell them.
If you have free time, I recommend the library. It doesn't cost any money either. I don't
know what to do, but nothing I do is fun. That might be true. I'm
almost 50. I don't have any friends, so solo camping is the only thing I do on my days off.
Today I folded up my bike and cycled around Kanda and the Kami area. I'm
a man in my mid-50s, but I've been investing in stocks for the past 10 years. I research stocks on weekends and sometimes attend seminars and study sessions for shareholders' meetings. I
spend more than half a day cleaning the house. Even just cleaning the bathroom takes a lot of time if I do it thoroughly.
There are so many things I want to do, but I don't have the stamina. Someone please turn on the motivation switch. In the morning, I do laundry, keep a household account book, play with my cat, and surf the internet. In the afternoon, I do my main hobby or read books, take a bath in between, relax, and cook something a little more elaborate. But that doesn't mean I go out at all, so I've been volunteering 3 days a month recently. I
suddenly wanted to go to an amusement park in Kyoto, so I went by myself. I got sandwiched between couples in front and behind me while I was waiting in line, and it became a thing of the past. I
drink a lot of alcohol and eat yakisoba every day, but I think that's enough. I'm really muscular because all I do is work out at the gym. I
chose to clean, go for ramen, do some shopping on the way home, and have a drink at the horse races. I'm happy. I
ate ramen and went to the movies. I
think it's better to stop eating ramen. If you eat it every week, you'll get sick.
Ramen is bad for both cost and health, so you shouldn't go. I'm cycling
around the top 100 restaurants on Tabelog. I'm
a book reader, but I can only read on the train. It's too bland to do at home. I went to see the cherry blossoms in the spring, but it was boring. Traveling alone would be even more boring. I get it. Why can't enjoy himself unless he's with other people? so being with other people is a hassle. It's a
good idea to start job hunting. If he ends up in a facility with no relatives, it'll be the same as prison. Fishing or cooking. If his day off falls on the weekend, the boats and fishing spots will be crowded. So unless he has a really good factory ticket, he'll shop at the supermarket or market from the morning. He's
good at socializing, and his hobby is gaming. Other than that, I guess motorcycles are the only thing he likes. I've been playing video games since I was little, and I've been throwing myself into reality, and I haven't been able to make friends, so for better or worse, I become okay with being alone. I'm 50 and single, but I don't have anything to do. I really want a dog, but apartments that allow pets seem noisy, and there are
so many different hobbies. I'll go to a thrift store. I wonder how much savings you actually need at age 65. I often hear 20 million yen, but I've heard that it's actually more. I think that's assuming that the couple owns a house.
I recently saw a headline that said they need 40 million yen. You can actually calculate how much you're short by looking at the difference between your pension and your living expenses. For example, if a couple's pension is 230,000 yen a month and their living expenses are 250,000 yen, they're in the red by 20,000 yen every month.
If you live a frugal life, you could even make a profit with 190,000 yen, but that assumes you have to be patient. It's
unfair that they assume you own a house. If you rent, the rent will take it all up. I live in a rural area and rent for 60,000 yen a month, but my pension alone isn't enough. Moreover, prices are rising, and they say that in 20 years the cost of living will be 1.2 times higher.
In other words, the current monthly cost of 200,000 yen will become 240,000 yen in the future.
Savings can be calculated using a formula. Total expenses, low clothing, low pension, and nursing care. As an example, if we calculate for a single man, the monthly cost of living is 140,000 yen by 16 years equals 2.68 million yen. If the monthly pension is 140,000 yen, the annual cost is 1.68 million yen by 16 years. If the pension income is 26.88 million yen, the self-paid medical expenses are 2.08 million yen, and the nursing care expenses are 5.8 million yen, then roughly 8 million yen in savings is required.
That is the minimum, and in reality, it often costs more. The total of 8 million yen is the average including people with disabilities. There
are also unexpected hospitalizations, surgery costs, and admission to nursing homes. On top of that, funerals usually cost more than 1 million yen. In other words, the minimum amount of savings required is around 15 to 20 million yen. Apparently,
women need more as they live longer. If I live to be 87, I would need about 21 million yen in assets. There's no way I could save that much. In fact, the average savings for people in their 60s is around 24 million yen, but the median is around 8 million or 4 million yen. It's just that people with an extreme amount of money are pushing up the average. There was also a survey result that said 60% of people have less than 5 million yen in savings. It's only because you have assets that you can live on your pension alone. I think many people would save up just by paying rent. In fact, people who rent have a much higher risk of going bankrupt in old age. I looked into public housing, but there was no autumn at all. Now that I'm older, I'm glad I own my own house.
But even if you own your own house, repair costs are a different matter. I hear that you'll have expenses in the millions of yen once every 10 years. The
scary thing about expenses in old age is unexpected medical expenses and nursing care costs. Have you heard of the engineering medical expenses system? There's a limit, but it can be a big help. The engineering medical expenses system is a system where if medical expenses exceed a certain amount on a regular basis, the excess amount will be reimbursed later. The upper limit varies depending on income and age, and it can reduce the burden on the household budget even if medical expenses become high due to sudden hospitalization or surgery. If your annual income is 3.7 million yen or less, the upper limit is 7,600 yen for all expenses. If you are exempt from resident tax, it is apparently even cheaper at 24,600 yen. You will lose out if you don't know about the system. You
also pay 10% for nursing care, but if the limit is exceeded, you will have to pay out of pocket. The
average cost of nursing care is around 5.8 million yen per person. If it is at home, it costs 48,000 yen per month, and if it is a facility, it costs more than 120,000 yen. Moreover, since it lasts for an average of 5 years, you will have to worry about spending several million yen.
On top of that, the cost often exceeds 1 million yen. Even if you go straight, it can cost a modest 400,000 yen. Even if you have the luxury of creating a system for dividends or passive income while you are still working, the reality is that you can't afford it.
How much does your pension increase if you defer it? If you
defer it until you're 70, it increases by 42%.
But honestly, isn't it tough to endure without a pension for a year? What are you going to do about your living expenses in the meantime? It takes 15 years to recoup your investment, so it's meaningless if you're not healthy.
On the other hand, if you die early, you'll hit the bottom and it's a complete gamble. I plan to receive it normally at 65. It's better not to rely on it too much. Some
people use their retirement benefits to pay for it, but mine was around 8 million yen. I invested it
in a Kansai housing project and it disappeared. Retirement is a thing of the past.
I bought a used apartment to reduce my fixed expenses for retirement, but it wasn't very effective. I spent 3 million yen on renovations, but it didn't work as well as I thought it would. The facilities are old, so additional things keep breaking down. Some people have
even invested less than half of their retirement benefits. Investing your retirement retirement in NIS has become a minefield recently.
NIS is good for the long term, but I don't think it's suitable for retirement funds. I wonder how many people actually get by on pension alone. My husband and I make 230,000 yen a month, but after taxes and insurance, our take-home pay is less than 200,000 yen. We can manage in the countryside, but it would be impossible in the city. My rent and high utility bills exceed 100,000 yen, so I'm already in the red. On top of that, I have to give my grandchildren pocket money and expenses are increasing steadily. I recently spent 100,000 yen on a wedding. If you're an old person and you're supporting your children, you won't have time to save. Sending money home with a monthly pension of 120,000 yen is crazy. I send money home too. My daughter is a single mother and has grandchildren. That's not just being an old person, it's being a side child. If that happens, your savings will disappear in an instant. It's
tough being constantly pestered by your parents who don't have children. You can't count on them to take care of you in the future.
Young people these days don't have the luxury of getting involved with their parents' affairs. If you're assuming that you have reliable relatives, you need to be even more prepared. If you're single and have no one to rely on, you can't feel secure even if you have at least 30 million yen. You'll
have to rely on facilities for nursing care, but apparently it takes years in the area, and you'll eventually run out of money and have to apply for welfare.
But you can't get welfare unless you have zero assets. You can't own a car, and your savings are less than 100,000 yen, so the conditions are tough.
What's more, the response varies depending on the local government when it comes to elderly people. The response in my hometown was bad, and there was someone who was rejected several times. I've heard that if you can get more than 100,000 yen a month, you can live on rented accommodation. But is that true? You can live a basic life, but it seems mentally tough. It
might be important to research the system now and get used to the service. I heard that the
Comprehensive Support Center offers consultations. I've heard of it, but I've never actually used it. The Comprehensive Support Center is a public consultation service set up by local governments to support the elderly so that they can live with peace of mind. It mainly provides comprehensive support for concerns about nursing care, medical welfare, etc. It is available to people aged 65 and over and their families, and accepts consultations on applications for welfare services, concerns and problems related to dealing with dementia, etc. I used it at my place and the staff said they were friendly, but it varies from municipality to municipality, so don't expect too much.
Looking at it this way, it seems that peace of mind for the elderly requires both money and precision, but surprisingly few people have both.
Our generation was hit hard by the collapse of the bubble economy and the Lehman Brothers crisis, and even full-time employees didn't get pay raises and there were cuts to their retirement age. When you turn 65 and your finances start to fade, you start to worry about how to reduce your savings. You don't know how much you can safely spend each month. We're spending
30,000 yen a month. Together with our pension, we live on 170,000 yen.
I'm saving 50,000 yen a month, but at this rate, I'll lose 12 million yen in 20 years.
And there are always unexpected expenses that come up along the way. Last year, the air conditioner broke and I got 200,000 yen, so it's tough even though I didn't get a bonus or a retirement pension.
I have dental problems and I didn't expect to have to pay 600,000 yen for implants, so it was painful. When my parents' funeral cost over 1 million yen, the decrease in my savings was extraordinary. It
cost over 1.5 million yen when my parents passed away. If you just go along with what the undertaker says, it can get expensive in an instant.
Even a simple plan with just a virtual plan will cost around 500,000 yen. You
also need to secure your own funeral table. Otherwise you'll end up causing trouble for your family. Apparently, some people take out funeral insurance and other insurance policies in anticipation of this, but that's only a few 100,000 yen, so it's not worth it unless you have the money.
Repair costs for your home can also add up. It costs 500,000 yen to repair the roof. Even if you own your own home, it costs money, and renting a house also requires renewal. A guy in the military said he's worried about whether he'll be able to pay the rent after he turns 70. If his pension is 120,000 yen a month, there's hardly any money left after paying the rent. With high heating costs and no cuts in food expenses, it's a tight squeeze.
Ultimately, the amount of savings you need is determined by your fixed expenses. If your monthly living expenses are 280,000 yen, that's 2.16 million yen a year, or 43.2 million yen over 20 years. If your monthly pension is 120,000 yen, that's 1.44 million yen a year. The shortfall is 720,000 yen per year, which would be 14.4 million yen over 20 years. If you factor in medical care and nursing care, you should expect to have 8 million yen. That
means you need at least 22 million yen. If you add in unexpected expenses and have 30 million yen, you might feel a little more secure. However, if you exceed the average life expectancy, you will run out of funds again. Women live to 87 years old, men to 81 years old. If you live longer than that, things will get tough. My father lived to 92, so you should consider that risk. That said, I don't want to work until I'm 70, so I'll end up relying on my savings. I've considered deferring my pension, but I won't be able to cover my living expenses in the meantime. If you don't have 30 million yen by the time you're 65, you'll feel like you're accumulating old age. Conversely, if you have less than 20 million yen, I think you'll be considering welfare. If your assets are less than 5 million yen, you're already at the limit. Only healthy people in the countryside can live on their pension alone. Plus, there are taxes and insurance premiums, so it's tough to live entirely on your pension. Medical expenses start to pile up after you turn 70. I spend 7,000 yen a month on medicine for my longevity disease. If this continues for 10 years, it will be 840,000 yen. My wife spends 10,000 yen a month on it, just like she does. Unexpected expenses keep coming up. It's impossible to estimate the amount of savings you need without doing more than just simple calculations. It's unlikely that aging will go as planned. 30 million yen is just a guideline, and it doesn't mean your anxiety will go away. In fact, there will come a time when you feel like you only have 30 million yen. Prices are rising and the future is unpredictable. I
don't think even 30 million yen in savings will be enough, but is it just me?
Prices and taxes are rising, so I feel like the value of money is declining. If you delay starting your pension, the period of no income will be extended. An
acquaintance of mine retired at 65 and had zero income until 68, which made him really anxious. I understand that postponing your pension will increase it, but the burden of living expenses is too great. He said that his pension increased after postponing it for 3 years, but his savings decreased by 6 million yen during that time. That means it will
take 25 years to collect, so that's what happens if you're not alive. On the
contrary, I've been receiving it early and started receiving it at 62. It's a bit of a scam, but it's easier mentally.
When you think about how much you'll need at 65, the timing of when you receive your pension also has a big impact. There's been talk of a 20 million yen problem in retirement, but in reality, it's a time when you can't be sure unless you have at least 30 million yen.
That 20 million yen is for a couple too. If you're single, the risk of falling below the welfare level is several times higher. Furthermore, even if you have 20 million yen, it's all gone if you start treatment in your 70s.
My uncle spent nearly 5 million yen over 2 years. There is a dual income system, but you pay it in advance, so in the end you need to save. I
also have assets that say I'll need a total of 8 million yen for medical care and nursing care. I'm not sure if that's really enough, but
if it's 30 million yen including that, it might be a realistic figure. The question is whether there's a way to save 30 million yen. It's unbearable to raise children on an annual income of less than 4 million yen and still have retirement funds. If you rush right before reaching adulthood, you won't be able to keep up. That's why people
say to start preparing in your 40s. Savings aren't something you build up when you're older. They're there to be spent.
However, if you choose the wrong time to spend them, they'll pile up. If you think you'll live 20 years to get old, they'll be gone by the time you've lived 25. I'm
calculating with the intention of living until I'm 90. That's when I feel like I can finally relax. On
the other hand, there are people who have saved 40 million yen but couldn't spend it all, and they've made it public. They ended up not traveling and living a frugal life. And before they knew it, they were almost 80. They said that saving had become their goal. By the time you realize it, it's too late. Once you're over 70, you can't move around, you can't travel, and you don't eat as much. If you don't spend money while you're still healthy in your 60s, you won't be able to enjoy it while you still can.
Thinking about it that way, maybe you don't need to force yourself to save more than 30 million yen. Even if you have savings, it's meaningless if you don't have any happy memories.
Life is difficult. Spending too much is bad, and saving too much will make you feel empty. My uncle had 40 million yen, but he lost half of it in investment trusts. There are many cases where people take risks and try to increase their assets and get screwed.
There are also scams. They say that as you get older, your caution and judgment become duller, and apparently there's a
real estate investment seminar for seniors in my neighborhood. I heard that someone over 80 was forced to start managing an apartment building. That's scary.
Even people who think they'll be fine because they have children can get hurt if they rely too much. I
hear that it costs 200,000 yen to enter a nursing home. But is there anyone whose pension is enough for that? My
parents were in a nursing home, but it was 170,000 yen a month, so my siblings and I ended up making up the difference. It's realistic that your savings will suddenly disappear the moment you need care.
That said, home care is hellish too. It can be exhausting to the point where your family collapses. When you think about it that way, you'll need at least 10 million yen for nursing care expenses. You should probably expect 15 million yen including medical expenses. What's more, once you're
over 75, you'll be covered by the long-term care insurance system, and even if you only pay 10% of the cost out of pocket, it can be quite painful if you increase the number of times you go. My father used to say that his pension was 120,000 yen, but his monthly medical expenses were 50,000 yen. He started saving from 55, but by the time he was an adult, it had gone up to about 7 million yen. But after he retired, it dropped dramatically, and the coronavirus shock caused an unrealized loss of 2 million yen. At the time, I believe what people were saying online and at financial institutions that long-term investments were safe. If I were to fall
victim to that old-fashioned talk, I wouldn't even be able to cover my living expenses. I'm
too scared to invest in anything. I only have fixed term deposits and savings in a safe, but even that is vulnerable to inflation. The value of gold declines over decades. A relative of mine lost 3 million yen in virtual currency after an acquaintance recommended it to him. Is
it a scam or an investment? It's a
gray area. Thinking back, it might have been close to a scam. My mother also lost about 2 million yen because she was unemployed. It really happens to the elderly. They have money, but their judgment starts to decline. I'm just conscious of keeping my fixed expenses under 100,000 yen a month so that I can live no matter what.
That might be the right answer. It's more reliable to reduce expenses than to increase income. I've been
hearing the term old bankruptcy a lot lately, but in the end, that's the result of jumping into it without preparing. If you
reach this point, you're already halfway there. Just being conscious makes a difference.
Thank you for watching until the end. How much do you plan to save by the time you're 65? Please write it in the comments. This channel will continue to introduce useful tips for seniors. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up.